Here in the variables file here, you can see this is what we looked at a long time ago, and this is in our scripting basics. If we look there now, I have some code commented here. We'll uncomment it and see what it does. Now, this is the basic part of the top part, and then I'll explain the bottom part there as well. I'll just put some double exclamation points there, just signaling that I have something special at the top. Now, don't forget that @ sign there. If you do a division by 0, 1000 divided by 0, you're going to get a warning that you can't divide by 0. This is pretty bad when you're doing programming in a language, but it's good that you can actually have the error suppressed, and you want to check for that with an if condition if you can, different types of if conditions. But when you do some kind of math that you might have this happen to you, you want to have a backup plan so you don't get a parse error, which I get there, which is not really a part of that, but this has to be commented out because I was doing something strange. So we're still looking at syntax errors. That's one you don't want to do. But if we refresh here, you see, well, we got a warning, division by 0, and we suppress that. Ignore the other stuff now. We suppress that with those two @ signs there. This one didn't have an @ sign. And we put parentheses around it, and that gets rid of that problem for us. It works similar to a function, and there it goes away. So that's what you should do when you might have a division by 0. You want to do that, and you could just get used to doing it that way. That way the warnings are suppressed, and if you're not sure it's going to happen, then you can take care of it and do that for many different reasons. But at the same time, you want to know the warnings until you get to the production environment. So maybe it's only a good idea if you can't seem to figure out why you can't get rid of that, then you can deal with it. But that's what happens in case you get that. The other one is not a number, a nan. Now this is pretty bad when it used to be entered into databases back in the Paradox world, and this is like the client-server environment, access days, and you can basically get that inserted in your database when it's supposed to be a number. And we just do something with a cosine here, and we just give it an invalid number there, and that basically comes back with invalid data. So we get this garbage number here, and it's just telling us that that's bad data, and it's a nan, basically. You could see nan or whatever else you get there. I'm not too familiar with all the functions that you get these strange things, but when that happens, you have a test here that you can check for that in case you're not sure, you're not a math guru, and you don't know what you're doing a little bit. So you use isNan to test that, and you see I have a 1 value. 1 is equal to true, and this is just an echo here. But if it's a nan, this is 1. That means it's true. We know that. I just did a quick test. This is what I do sometimes. I just output some things, echo some things, put exclamation points. The old way of debugging, if you're not using like the Zend editor, for example, and you're just using things this way, you can quickly see what the value is. And so you can take care of it. You can check isNan. And there's isFinite and isInfinite. Infinite or finite, that's what you can use for two different functions to test for infinity, as well as other math functions that you should research in case you need some special math functionality. And there are many, many functions that you can use. So definitely use the @ sign to prevent things from happening in your equations, your functions, and you saw me use it a lot with databases and things like that. But use it whenever those warnings creep up. And it may not look so standard to you, but with parentheses, you can imagine that that's the way to go.